All right, here we are with the Qomo board, and the first thing that we want to do is make sure that it's calibrated correctly. So the calibration is done after the Qomo software is installed in the status bar, in the taskbar down here. So we open up this and we're looking for a little blue monitor with a green circle and a black arrow in it. We tap on that one time and then we do calibrate. It comes up on a main screen and then we can tap calibrate, and then what we do is we tap and hold each time. If you do not get the yellow progression bar each time, then you probably need to restart your computer and then it'll come up after that. So I'm going to tap and hold on each of these 9 points. So that everything is configured. And down here at the bottom. And then we're going to tap in the middle of these special buttons. Per the request. And then it takes a second to take in that calibration. When that's ready to go, you're going to be able to use your Qomo board and all of the relevant Qomo products. Okay, so we can go ahead and hit OK to that. So now that we're ready to go, this toolbar is going to be down here, and that'll work with all the regular Qomo board stuff, everything that a Qomo board would do. You're ready to go. That would also interact with all of the other stuff inside of your windows and things like that. So if I want to turn on the paintbrush, then I've got green paintbrush that I can rub on top of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it back to the mouse mode, and I'm not going to save my current annotation. And now I'm going to open the other softwares. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Active Inspire, which is the software for the Promethean board. So I'm going to step over here to this side so you can see a little bit better. And you can create brand new objects. I'm just going to kind of wing it, so I'm going to close that. And so this is the Active Inspire Studio. Again, I'm on the Qomo board, and if I want to do drawings, then I can come in here and I can draw. So I can change the colors as I like to different colors. I can use any of the touch interactive stuff that's related to this board. And then anything down here, that would be the Qomo stuff that's in the layer on top of everything. So I would probably want to steer away from that while I was inside of the Active Inspire. I can also do the T tool, and I can place text boxes right inside of there. There's probably a text box that comes up with this, but I could also bring up the text box that's as part of the Qomo stuff. So I can just type howdy in there. And then that shows up right inside the board. So I can close it and I can get out of it, but then I need to be out of the text tool if I wanted to be able to draw any more stuff. Alright, so overall that works pretty well, and then if I need to wipe it, I can use this little spray bottle and I can clear the page to get out of everything. So basically everything that you can touch here, you would be able to use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close that, and I'm not going to save my changes. And I'm going to open up the next program, which is the Smart Notebook. The Smart Notebook is a whiteboard application similar to the one that we just did with the Active Inspire. So just take a moment to load that up. And so what we've got is we've got all of our tools, just a little bit different interface. So if I want to use markers, I've got the markers and I've got all these different kinds of tools that I can draw in and work with. The tools erase and work just like they would otherwise. I forgot to mention that we had to do a little bit of a tweak in the Active Inspire to get it to work initially. I'm going to go back and I'm going to touch on that. But one of the things that did not work well in the Active Inspire was the multi-touch aspect of it. So basically, if there were multiple inputs, then the Active Inspire was not able to handle that. But the Smart Notebook is. So I'm dragging all 4 fingers across, and it's doing its best that it can. But what it means is that if I'm drawing over here and over here, then it will draw in those two locations. Now, since I touched on those drawing areas, it just brought up the selector is basically what happened. So I can erase all that stuff, and then I can get out of it. But it's kind of neat when you use the shape drawing tool. I can grab my hands and then I can draw all of these different size shapes. So literally it's taking all these inputs and I can use all of them at one time. So Smart Notebook seems to work pretty well. Now let's go back and we're going to talk about that Active Inspire thing that we were talking about a second ago. And I need to bring that back up. Now to get the Active Inspire working originally, it was looking for wands or input devices which we did not have available to us. So we basically had to change the input to the board. And so the way that we did that, thanks Michael Barnett, is under File and then Settings. We then came over here to the Settings tab and used the Dual Mode Active Boards option. And the default was use Active Touch instead of Active Pen, I believe. But what we needed to make it work was the full touch support. And then after we did that, everything worked okay. Now, those two seem to be working pretty well. Now, what did not work was the traditional tools that you would find associated with the Symposium by Smart. So when I open up the Symposium instructions over here on the right, which is on top of my keyboard as well. And so these types of buttons will not work. They need the actual program to run the drivers to be installed. So it won't do anything with any of these tools without having a real Symposium Smart device installed. So overall, I think it's a pretty good substitute for being able to use those various smartboard applications, and I think it would work well.